Right. Hi and welcome. I'm Leslie. I'm a prenatal yoga instructor here at Blooma. And this is another one of these short, really focused practice, so about 25 minutes. And our focus today is on hips and glutes. I hear a lot about hip pain and tightness in pregnancy. And so today's practice is going to focus on stretching out the hips, but also on doing some hip strengthening those hip flexors, which can get really tense, but can also be a little bit weak. And we'll really strengthen the glutes and work a little bit on core strengthening. Idea being that in pregnancy, we're really loose, all of the ligaments are getting soft, and so when you stay really strong in your glutes, strong in your core, strong hips, you just help your body stay knit together, and it's really useful. So without further ado, for today's class, you're going to want to have a block and a strap. Now, I know all of us don't have a strap in our home space, but a great substitute might be a dish towel or a scarf that isn't too delicate, anything that you can use to loop over your foot, and we'll open up and really get into the hamstring and the glute and all that good stuff with a strap at the end of our practice. So if you're using music, now's a great time to start. And as we prepare for this flow, you can take your block to the front of your mat and leave your strap somewhere towards the front of your mat. We'll use it at the end of these 25-ish minutes. And we will start today in an extended child's pose. So knees are going to come wide. Big toes will touch. I like to take a little exhale to reach my hips back and an inhale to reach them forward. Just starting to open up a little bit through the hips and the hip flexors. And if you want to take this just a little bit deeper as you inhale, you might think about dropping your pelvis, reaching your heels up towards your seat. And as you exhale and reach your hips back, maybe lifting to finger pads, a little tuck of the tail and a drop of the chin. So just taking this maybe a few more times. Nice steady movements, moving at the pace of your breath. And then as you're ready to settle in and back, let the hips drop and ease your arms forward. Dropping the heart towards the mat and maybe taking one cheek and ear at a time. Just bringing a lot of breath to the hips, to the glutes as you land here in this extended child's pose. A time as well to greet yourself into your practice, this 25 minutes that you've taken for yourself. Just tuning in deeply, beginning to slow and even the breath, checking in with yourself, what's present as you come to your mat today, extending that sense of warmth and greeting to your baby as well. So from here, really gently, we'll take another couple of breaths and then begin to arrange the body into all fours, tabletop. So as you float your hips up, you may need to walk your hands a little back and your knees in under your hips. Let the body find alignment here and just start to take some nice big sweeps of your hips, big circles. Gaze is going to stay down, so I'm working to keep a long back of the neck. I know we all have this urge when we do classes on the laptop to lift the gaze, but that's going to crunch your neck. So see if you can let your gaze stay down. I'll try and be nice and clear in my cueing. Reverse your circles if you haven't done so. Give yourself just a couple more breaths to even it out. And then once you feel even, really coming back to that neutral spine, we're going to take our block and rest it at the low back. You're just bringing the block to balance sort of on top of your sacrum. And then I want you to take a moment and lift your low back up to the block to make this really flat space for the block to rest upon. So play with that for a moment. Let that go. Let your belly drop and there be this little round, this arch in your low back. And then notice what happens as you lift your low back to meet the block. You really need to engage your front of your core, your strong abs, to make that flat space for the block. So after you've played with it a couple of times, pause there. I'm going to add another little piece here as you gaze down between your thumbs. Rather than dropping your heart and snugging your shoulder blades together, can you think about lifting the space between your shoulder blades and allowing them to spread? So now I have this beautiful flat surface in my back. And from here, working to hold on to that, I'm going to send my right leg out from my right hip. So I'm flexing my toes. It's as though I'm stepping on the wall behind me. It's a little harder to keep lifting up to meet that block. See if you can keep lifting, keep engaged. And now invite your left arm forward. Arm is alongside your ear. And find a little pulse for 3 steady breaths. Breathing in and breathing out as you build a little heat. Firing up the glute, the abs. Good. After the 3rd breath, stay lifted through your leg. Reach back for the block and take it to the front of your mat. You're going to bring both palms now on top of the mat and step the right foot forward outside of the block. So giving you what this looks like from the front, I have my palms on top of this block, my knee is outside of my arm, and now as I inhale, I'm going to press my knee into my arm and reach my arm against my knee. So let that go and then take it again, that little resistance with the arm, noticing the muscles that are firing when you do that. Good. So that is going to become your inhale breath, that press, that engagement. And your exhale breath is going to be rolling the knee open and dropping to the pinky edge of your foot. Again, you're moving slowly at the pace of your breath. Inhale, snug in. Exhale, open the knee wide. Take it 2 more times at your pace. Last one to snug in. And then you're going to hold this engagement in those muscles that you need to fire up to keep that knee really stable as you now draw your arms over your shoulders, pausing here, big wide spread of your chest. Can you think about taking any arch out of the low back as though you're still drawing the low back to meet a block that's hovering there? Take another breath or 2, lifting up nice and tall, and then as you exhale, draw your hands to the block and shift yourself back to a half splits. Flexing your right toes. Really thinking about pressing that heel forward, but drawing the right hip back and down. And then last little piece, can you draw your heart forward and hinge from a long back? So it's almost like a halfway lift or even an up dog sensation. Breathe into this right hamstring. Take a couple more breaths. Excellent. As you inhale, come back to your lunge. Remove the block. Sweep your right knee back into tabletop. Tuck your toes and press to a downward facing dog. We'll take a couple breaths here. First time here, just to pedal the heels, to sway the hips. Maybe gazing under one armpit and then the other, moving slowly, if at all. Second side, lift your heels. Float your knees back to the earth, untuck your toes. Block comes to the low back and you lift your low back to the block. Find that lift between the shoulder blades, lengthen the crown of the head, holding on to all of that. Send your left leg back, flex your toes. Excellent. Right arm is going to add, reaching forward, and you're finding that little pulse for 3 steady breaths, just building a little heat here. After your 3rd breath, pause. Take the block out and forward. Option to bring your palms on top of it and then stepping that left foot forward. As you drop into this lunge, find the press of the left knee against the right arm and then just soften. So just taking it a couple of times to, again, notice the muscles that turn on as you do that, as you find that engagement. And then we'll take the inhale breath to press in and the exhale breath to open up. A few more like that. Inhale. Exhale, roll and stretch into the outer hip. 2 more at your pace. After those 2 times, feel the stability in the leg maintain as you lift into your crescent lunge. So it's as though there's this imaginary force field really holding that left knee stable. I'm lifting up out of my waist. I'm working to take that arch in the low back away and breathing deeply wherever I feel the stretch. Soften your face if you can. Take 1 more full breath and then you're exhaling your way to the half splits. Arms, hands can stay forward or shift back. But you're really thinking about drawing this left hip back and down, energetically reaching forward with your heart, but extending the base of your tail back. Chin drops towards the chest, long in the back of your neck. Give yourself 1 more breath. And then coming back to the lunge, leave your block at the top of your space. Sweep your left knee back beside your right. Tuck your toes. As you exhale, round now into a cat shape. Drop your chin towards your chest. Tuck your tail. And then inhale back to that neutral spine. Exhale, hover your knees. So letting those fronts of your thighs really fire and engage. Think about the spreading away of the shoulder blades, the lifting of the low back. Crown of the head reaches forward, tail reaches back. Take 1 more breath. And then exhale yourself to downward facing dog. And this time we'll take a deep bend in the left knee, reach the right heel to or towards the mat, and just hold. As you're stepping down through your heel, the sits bones are tilting high. Back of the neck is long, ears inside of the arms. And then switch. Big bend in the right knee, left heel reaches and holds. Awesome. Press both heels to the earth and slowly walk your hands back so that you're into a forward fold at the back of your space. And as you hang here, walk your hands over to the left and pause, and walk them over to the right and pause. Just breathing all kinds of length into your legs, letting your spine release by getting a little heavier through the crown of the head. Sits bones tilt upwards. Take a couple more breaths just to even it out both sides. And then coming back to center, we're going to inhale to a halfway lift and stay. Once again, that tabletop sensation. Now the shoulder blades are hugging together and down the back. I'm going to shift my palms to the tops of my thighs and rise with this flat back all the way to stand. Release your hands, big breath, sweep them around you and up. As you exhale, fold yourself in half, leading with your heart, back stays flat. Take a halfway lift as you breathe in. As you breathe out, fold back and now rise with 1 breath. Big reverse swan dive, hands circle around you and up. As you exhale, slide your hands into your heart and step forward to the top of your space. So you're just coming into this Tadasana now at the top of your space. Hands are at your heart. And I'm really balanced here. Head over heart, over hips, over heels, toes aligned ahead of my heels. I'm going to bend and drop into a chair pose. As you drop into that chair pose, can you think about drawing the shoulders back a little bit rather than hunching way forward? Can you think about being active in your arches? And then that low back, reaching to meet that imaginary block. Send your hands forward, breathe in. As you breathe out, send them behind you. Take that 2 more. Inhale. And exhale, belly is snugging in, so lift your baby up towards your heart as you move. Excellent, take it one more. Inhale, straighten and rise, lift nice and tall. As you exhale, fold in half. Block is at the top of your space, and you're gonna take it between your feet. And then with the palms on your block, step your left foot back and stay now in a higher lunge shape. So not dropping the knee, keep that knee lifted. Draw your right knee in towards your right arm, letting those muscles fire on, but now really lift that back left heel high so that you're engaging your left glute as well. Hold nice and steady and rise as you're ready into your high lunge. Arms float overhead. Let the hands be wide so the shoulders can stay soft. And then as you inhale, bend that knee, that back left knee. As you exhale, straighten it up. Take that two more. Inhale. Exhale. Take it one more, working that left glute now. Beautiful job. Stay here. As you exhale, bring your hands down to the block once again and take yourself back for this hold in a deep pyramid. So like that, half splits, but flex your right toes towards your heart, reach your left heel down and see if you can center both hips. Take one more breath. Make your way back to the lunge, right knee over right heel. Left heel is now going to plant down, and as you stay rooted through your right hand, lift your left hand high here. Coming into this beautiful side angle shape, can you think about engaging your core, your front body, and then as you reach this left hand overhead, reach through the pinky finger as you step back through your pinky toe. Good. Find your breath. From here, we're going to rise to warrior two. It's one breath in, come up, stay committed in that front leg. As you exhale, soften a little deeper. Flip your front palm, inhale, reverse your warrior. All the time committed in that front knee. Next, exhale, bring your hands to cartwheel back to the block. Pick up your back left heel and step it forward to the top of your space. Your breath in is a halfway lift. You're going to stay right here. Palms shift, and you rise with a flat back. Release your hands. Big breath. Sweep them around you and up. Fill up with air. As you exhale, fold back between your legs. Plant your palms. And now we're going to step the right foot up and back. The left knee bends above my left heel. I'm hugging in with that inner left thigh, and I'm popping my right heel really tall so that my right glute fires up. As you're ready, rise, high lunge, you've got it. Nice softness in the shoulders, spread in the chest. Stay committed and bent in your front knee as you inhale, bend your back right knee. As you exhale, straighten. How still can you be in the rest of your body as you simply hover and then straighten that back knee? Take it one more, doing so well. Good. Breathe to your fingers, exhale your palms to the block, and come back to that big deep pyramid pose. Left toes flex. My left heel is driving forward, but my left hip is shifting back and down. And my head is hanging nice and long. Inhale back to your lunge, knee over heel. Draw your right heel down to the earth. You're staying grounded in your left hand as the right hand lifts. Can you feel that arm meeting with the leg? So you're really fired up in that leg, the inner thigh. Inhale, send your hand overhead. Really reach another inch through your pinky finger forward, but step further back and down through your pinky toe. It's just a moment. You're inhaling to warrior two, really strong. Exhale here, settle to your shape. Inhale, reverse. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Cartwheel your hands to the block, pick up your back heel, and step your way forward, hanging for a couple breaths in ragdoll. So you can move your block out of the way now, move your feet wider. Let's take opposite hand, opposite elbow, and just sway and let go. Just a couple breaths. Nod your head yes, move it side to side no. And then releasing the bind in your arms, toe heel your feet hip width distance. Take a halfway lift, long spine, fold back, bend your knees, and lift back to that chair pose. Good. Settle your hands to your heart and stay right here. We're going to lift the left heel and find a little pulse in this chair. Pulse and breathe really strong. Excellent. Find stillness as you straighten your right leg, float your left knee, one-legged Tadasana, flex your toes. We're headed from here into a warrior three. Hands will stay at the heart center, but think about when we took this shape from our knee. Really think about extending your heel out from your hip and lifting your low back up towards that now imaginary block. From here, we're going to land, bending the right knee, reaching the left toes back and down. When the toes land, gather your shoulders over your hips and send your hands high. Take a beautiful, deep, full breath here. As you exhale, open to your warrior two. As you inhale, reverse. As you exhale, extend, forearm now to the thigh. And I'm again getting longer from my pinky toe to my pinky finger. Gaze down. Inhale, rise back to your warrior two. As you exhale, drop your back hand and then squeezing your glutes together, lift back to that crescent lunge to the front and step your way back to chair pose, front of your mat. Inhale, rise, hands come down. Big breath, sweep the hands around you. As you exhale, you're coming right back into that chair pose. You're going to pick up your right heel and cross that ankle over the left thigh and drop down into a standing figure four. If there's anything to touch and balance on, you're more than welcome. If you don't have anything to rest your hands on or you want the balance challenge, you might extend your hands ahead of you, drop your hips even deeper, and see if you can breathe a little space into the sacrum here. Another couple of breaths. As you inhale, rise, one-legged Tadasana. As you exhale, step down, hands pass through the heart, and we'll just take a couple of breaths resting on our feet. Breathe in really deeply, breathe out really deeply. As you're ready for your second side, if your eyes are closed, flutter them open, breathe the hands around you, and come right on back to that chair pose, this time popping up the right heel and finding a little pulse. Pulse it out, find your breath, squeeze your glutes, getting so strong. And then as you straighten your left leg, float your right knee, flex your right toes, and as you're ready, make that big transition, sending your legs straight off from your hip and thinking about lifting your low back. So the low back stays really long, really strong in your core to support this. We're going to start to land, bending through the left knee, reaching the right toes back. When you get there, lift your hands, take a great big breath, and as you exhale, open to that warrior two. Inhale to reverse. Exhale to extend. Now it's the forearm to the thigh with the option to send your arm overhead and get really long. Fill your right side with breath. Reach your fingers, press back through the pinky edge of your toe. Inhale to rise to warrior two. And then dropping the back hand, lift yourself back to that high crescent lunge. And as you're ready, step it forward, chair pose. Rising on an exhale, big breath, send your hands around you. As you exhale, bring the hands to the heart, rebend the knees. This time, letting that left heel lift and crossing into that figure four. So you're standing on your opposite, that's your right foot. You're dropping your seat. And you're coming into that beautiful stretch. Maybe the hands reach forward. Maybe the hips drop back. Another touch. Breathe to your low back. Just a couple more breaths. And then you're inhaling to rise, exhaling to step down. Send your hands around you. Big breath. As you exhale, fold your body in half, leading with your heart. Feet come wider. We're going to step back to downward facing dog. Give ourselves a breath or two here, just to pedal the heels, to sway the hips. And then with a big breath, lift your right leg high, and as you exhale, send the knee forward, setting up for half pigeon. So I'm gonna let my foot move to the left, and as I drop to my knees, scooch that left knee back a touch. Notice if you need a prop for your right hip. And then we're gonna take a great big breath into the heart, and as we exhale, ease the body forward any amount. I love to rest my forehead on top of a block. That's a lovely option if you have one, or a pillow where you can stack your fists. And let's take 6 breaths. Nice steady breath, softening the face, the brow, the jaw. Breathing to your right hip, your right glute. Letting yourself start to slow down, body and mind. After your 6th breath, you'll walk your hands back towards your body. And then tucking your left toes and lifting your knee, we'll press and round a little bit so there's space to step back to down dog, where we'll take a little time between sides just to pedal, to sway, maybe taking a big breath in through the nose and releasing a little heat through the mouth. As you're ready for your 2nd side, inhale your left leg, and with your exhale, send your knee towards the front of your mat. Foot is going to move to the right, and as you drop gently, those little adjustments, scooch the knee back. Notice if a prop is nice for under the left hip. We'll take a great big breath, filling the chest, and then let the chest lead us forward. Resting forehead on something, a block, stacked fists. 6 breaths right here. Your 6th breath is done. Start to ease your way out. Tuck toes, lift knee, and make your way back to downward facing dog. Just a couple of breaths. It's our last one. So we will let the knees drop down and shift to one side and come on down to our side. That strap should still be nearby. Make sure that you have it as you come down. And then winding down our class with that lovely assistance of the strap to really open up the hamstrings, the glutes, to stretch into that T-band. You're going to draw your right knee in towards your body and flexing your toes. Let the strap loop over the sole of the foot and send your leg nice and high. So take a moment to bring your low back into the earth just as you met that block. Let the chest spread and the back of the shoulders release. And then you'll take hold of the strap with your left hand and bringing your right thumb to your right hip crease, pressing down and away. See if you can start to gently draw your leg across your body just a couple of inches. Keep breathing. If it becomes too intense that you're holding your breath or bunching through your face, ease back a little bit. Just take a couple more breaths right here. And then guiding with your left hand, take the leg back to center. Start to bend your right knee, drawing your ankle over your left thigh. And we'll hug in for a second figure four, now reclined on our back, just taking a couple of breaths. Continuing to slow everything way, way down. After those few breaths, release. Uncross your ankle, between sides, we'll bring arms wide and just windshield wiper the knees, a little bit like that foam roller action, just releasing the glutes, massaging the hips. And then second side before our rest, snugging that left knee in, flexing the toes and sending the leg nice and tall. I'm starting with my hands either end of the strap. And then shifting the strap to the right hand, I'm going to bring my left thumb into the hip crease, press down and away, snug in a little bit, cinch in a little bit on the strap, and guide my leg across my body to the right. When this is intense, knowing it might only be a couple of inches, when you get there, pause and breathe. Soften through your face, your brow, your jaw. Allow the shoulders to release a little bit closer towards the mat. And then taking the knee and leg back to center, bend your left knee to cross your ankle over right thigh. We're done with that strap. Hug in and breathe, figure four. Just the back of the neck, if it's a little crunched, maybe the chin shifts towards the chest. Can you work to spread your sacrum onto the mat? And then you're dropping that foot and uncrossing your leg. It's a couple of breaths to move the knees side to side. And then after you've taken that side to side action, from here we're going to come into our Shavasana. So that might be just extending your legs long. If so, I would really recommend a prop under your knees. Give your low back a little support. If it feels more comfortable to you to curl to the side from bent knees, you can roll back to your right or to your left. Possibility to take the block below the head for support, and then working to align the hips, one on top of the other, knees one on top of the other. Let yourself rest here. I'm going to give you about a minute today so you won't hear me as you rest, and then I'll gently let you know when it's time to come out. This is your Shavasana. So working to stay and linger a little longer in this calm space. You might just bring your breath back to a little bit more conscious rhythm. So inhales and exhales, finding even. From that gentle reawakening to your body, your surroundings, maybe some movement of fingers and toes or opening and closing the jaw. And eventually, maybe taking a bigger stretch, reaching one or both arms overhead. And then from that side lie, that fetal posture, really gently bringing yourself to a comfortable seat to end our practice. Give yourself time once in that seat. Gather your hands to your heart. And with closed eyes, soft face, bow forward to you. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an honor and a privilege to guide you through this practice. The light, the mother, the teacher in me sees and honors the light and the mother and the teacher in you. Namaste.